But then Derek came out, and this is, I had some fun here because I really felt all along that Derek is probably one of the musicians that could replicate as close to as possible to the way Jeff Beck played. Now, Jeff Beck's in his own class, his own world, and everything else. I'm not comparing the two, but I think Derek has that amazing capability, especially on the slide, to create sounds that Jeff Beck would create with his bar and everything else and his knobs and things like that. So when he came out, I started talking to people. I said, have you ever seen him play live? Now, a lot of people did say they heard of Tedeschi Trucks and they heard their music, but they never saw them play live. And I said, you're in for a treat, okay? And you could just tell about, I don't know, maybe 40 seconds into this, so the first song he did, the Little Brown Bird, that there was some sighs and wows and everything else coming out of people like, holy shit, okay? By the end of the song, there were a lot of fans of Derek Trucks, okay? And you could just feel the hush that came over the audience as he played, and his hands just, I like to say how his hands glide across those strings. Like I don't even think they touch them and all that. And the audience definitely picked up that this was an A-lister performer. He was not some kid off the block. He belonged on that stage as much as anybody else there, whether they played for 40, 50, 60 years or 25 or 30 years like Derek has. And then Susan comes on and she starts to sing, and people just like literally melting in their chairs. They just couldn't. We all know what her voice does. She is absolutely my favorite female vocalist on the planet right now. Although Joss Stone and Imelda May, if you ever get to see those two females sing, you should see them sing. They are incredible. But Susan, for me, has something in her voice, a soul that it just, she could sing all night to me and all that. And the audience, again, just immediately reacted, took it all in and everything else. And they really, really appreciated them. It was like almost like they were the unknowns. They've seen Robert Randolph before. They've seen, Doyle Bramwell. They've seen, everybody else that was on the stage, Nathan East, Christine. They knew these people. But Derek and Susan, they really didn't. They just did this one European tour, I think, last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yeah. So that might have been some exposure people got. So
it's such a testament to their talent, because like you were saying, there's other musicians that the audience may have been more familiar with, or bigger names like Clapton or Kirk Hammett, or even like Johnny Depp or Billy Gibbons. But then, like, if Derek and Susan are sort of, relative unknowns to a lot of the audience, it just goes to show how much the audience is captured just purely by the music. It's all about the music. It becomes all about the music. So it's like, that's how great Derek and Susan are, that fact that they can totally captivate people who have no idea who they are within 30 seconds of playing guitar and or singing.
I was trying to find, like, we'll never know the reason why certain people weren't there or were there or whatever. Maybe one day it'll come out in some interview or something like that. I get the feeling that Eric Clapton wanted to play with Derek Trucks. And we all know how musicians love to play with each other. I think he really wanted to be on stage with him playing. That's the feeling I got, because I was watching the interaction between the two of them during the sets that they played together. And Clapton was just enamored with him. And I think I look back to when Tedeschi Trucks first started touring as the Tedeschi Trucks Band in 2010, they opened for Jeff Beck. So that's the connection. And Jeff and Derek did play together. I have it somewhere once that they did play together. So there was a connection that tied Derek into Jeff. But I think Clapton knew Jeff, and he's probably seen Derek play before, and he's been to the States enough that he said, I want this guy on the stage. He belongs here. And he did.
I just can't imagine that, other than a musician who's like unavailable or just, unable to make it because it's across the ocean, if they're coming from the North America, like that. I feel like that would be the only reasons why, someone would not want to go to this, or not be able to go to this, is just extenuating circumstances.
Where's Tal Wickenfeld? Because she played with Beck and everything. She's on tour. She's playing with someone. I mean, that's it. Jimmy Page, everybody, where's Jimmy Page? There's stories that he really hasn't picked up a guitar in 10 years because he has problems with his hand and everything. He might very well have been backstage there, and hanging out with everybody. Who knows? And again, I've seen many hundreds of shows, well over 1,500 shows in my life. I just appreciate what they give us. I don't worry about what wasn't there, what didn't happen, and all that.
That's a great attitude. I'm kind of the same way, because a lot of Tedeschi Trucks Band fans, and not even in like a complaining way, will have comments like, "Oh, I wish would have had a little more Derek solos, a little more of this from the band, a little more of that, a little more Allman Brothers," whatever it is. Like, people are always kind of like have some sort of complaint, but not like a malicious complaint. But
yeah, it's sort of like wishing for a certain set list, or like you do a Dead show. Oh, they didn't play Uncle John's Band. Oh my God. They cover 400 songs besides 180 that they've written. I mean, how the reason you go to 50 shows a year is because you want to see every song. So you go to 50 shows. And same thing with Tedeschi Trucks. I know lots of people go to multiple shows. I'll see them 6 or 7 times this year, but I know there's people that will follow them the same way I would have followed the Grateful Dead.